Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and this is a special video for our top 10 films of 2021, and after a hiatus for 2020, Matt and I are back doing our top 10 video together. I missed this. I'm glad we're back.
This is like how one of the first videos that you started doing when you made your channel.
Yeah, because it was like, instead of just doing a whole bunch of reviews, Matt and I did this special video of us doing our top 10 together. And now look at all the shows that I do.
What year was that, do you think, when you started? Like around
maybe 2017. We might have did our first video. I think. Maybe. Sounds about right. I would have to go back and check. But we're here to talk about our top 10 films of 2021. But you know, we got to throw some honorable mentions out there. So Matt, what are some of your honorable mentions from 2021?
All right, so I'll go from bottom to top. So I'll go Spider-Man: No Way Home. That was a great movie. A lot of random surprises and references that kind of reward you if you've seen all the movies, of course. And then it's just a good all-around good movie. Licorice Pizza. It was an interesting ride, and then some other words that sound like interesting, but more kind of like problematic. But yeah.
You might have some feelings by the end. I had some feelings by the end of the movie.
Yeah, it's like some question marks that need. Let me see. The Lost Daughter. That was a laugh riot. I'm kidding. That was like, wow. And it just kept going like, wow, you can get sadder. No, you can get more sad.
If you ever wondered if Olivia Colman wasn't one of the best actresses in the world, then you need to watch The Lost Daughter.
Yeah, also Maggie Gyllenhaal, please direct more things.
There you go.
That was fantastic. Let me see. West Side Story. That was okay, but definitely not as good as my number 4 in terms of musicals this year. Ghostbusters. If anybody was kind of worried if this movie was going to be good, everyone was really happy. If you were hoping it was going to fail,
We saw it together.
Also, I saw it with Shane. Yeah, that was a great movie. A Quiet Place 2. That was like a casualty of getting pushed back so much.
Yeah, that was one of the first movies to get pushed back.
Yeah, that was. I felt bad for John Krasinski, but that was a fantastic movie.
Still made a decent amount of money at the beginning of the summer season when people started going back to the movies.
I should probably buy the DVD. Let me see. Let's go Shang-Chi. Fantastic. Also, if you like music, definitely go on Spotify or I guess or any place you listen to music. Find the soundtrack. Fantastic. Just all around fantastic. Shang-Chi, super. Also, really interesting and really cool messages throughout the whole thing. King Richard, fantastic.
Will Smith.
Yeah, people, a lot of people, and I guess including me, say that maybe he kind of rises above the material in the movie. But besides that, the whole movie's fantastic. The child actors are fantastic. Everything is really, really awesome. Let me say, The Last Duel. This millennial saw your movie, so don't get pissed off at me.
So did this one, and I'll be talking about that in a second.
And then The Green Knight, I also saw with Shane.
Literally, just watched.
Just watched it. Thank you again for the Christmas gift.
Yes.
Fantastic movie. That was... this is I'll just say it has...
That's still processing.
Yeah, I'm still processing it, but just really, really interesting imagery, the whole way through, but not kind of pretentious or up its own it's just a really interesting movie.
It's weird.
Yeah, but it is a little you have to kind of meet it maybe a little bit more than halfway. But if you're okay with that, then totally. Yeah, those are my runners up though of the year.
So my runners up. So we got A Hero to Save Us. I'm just kidding. It's not the Chad Kroeger song. A Hero, which is from the director of A Separation and Salesman, both won foreign language film Oscars. This is out on Amazon Prime on January 21st, so that's definitely one to check out. Sweat, which is a great commentary on fame, and that's on Mubi. The Killing of Two Lovers, which is just this fantastic small-scale drama that packs a huge punch. It's on VOD. In the Heights. Big year of musicals for me. Loved In the Heights. I'm guessing that's on HBO now. Again, Mass, probably one of the most well-acted films of the whole entire year and absolutely emotionally devastating. A Quiet Place Part 2, which I'm pretty sure I did buy already on Blu-ray. So, be watching that again. I'm Your Man, and this is a low-key science fiction film from Bleecker Street, who always makes great movies. So go check that one out. I'm pretty sure you could rent that on VOD now. Tick Tick Boom, which is such a great year for musicals, and I'm sure we'll be talking about that again. The Last Duel. Yes, both these millennials saw The Last Duel and thought it was great. You're welcome, Ridley Scott. And then this one came so close up until this week, was in my top 10, Flea, which honestly could arguably win Best Documentary and Best Animated Feature this year at the Oscars. But those are our honorable mentions. So let's get into it. So Matt, what's your number 10?
All right, let's go all the way back to Halloween, or at least it being a Halloween movie.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob's Wife. That was a fantastic movie. It was funny in the ways that it needed to be. It was smart in the ways that it needed to be. There's a lot of interesting kind of like gender politics stuff, and also like some commentary on like religion, and also kind of like toxic slash fragile masculinity stuff going on in there. The reveal, I'm not gonna say it, but like the reveal of like what's going on with the head vampire, and it's like, oh, okay, didn't see that coming, Nosferatu. Fantastic movie. Also for I guess like vampire movies as a genre or something. For there to be so much just like churned out, probably like so much. This movie was very interesting in like the ways that it was like this like, inventive, like even like tiny like random things like oh, what happened if a vampire went to get their teeth brightened? Oh, their mouth would burn. Like just like random like just random stuff. It was an awesome movie. Definitely highly recommend it.
It's something that is on Shudder. So Shudder, if you haven't heard of and you're a fan of horror, you're missing out. Because Shudder is like a huge place to get some great horror content. And this was definitely one of my favorite hidden gems of the year. Because Barbara Crampton, right? Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure. She's fantastic. She used to be a big scream queen in like the 80s. And she comes back in this film and kills it. And others. And a small shout out to CM Punk, who actually acted in the film as one of the police officers. So, pro wrestler. Because he had worked on the previous film of this director. And I'm definitely down for more of what this director did. It had a vintage, old school kind of feel to it. It had a great sense of humor about it. It was still creepy and unnerving, as horror should be. And it had a lot to say. Yes. That was definitely a great pick. I'm sad that The Green Knight didn't make your top 10, but I'm glad that you got to bring up Jacob's Wife because more people need to check it out.
Yes. Very much so.
So, my number 10 is Red Rocket. And this is from director Sean Baker, who previously did Tangerine and The Florida Project, and starring Simon Rex of Scary Movie fame. Because I'm pretty sure he was in at least the third and the fourth Scary Movie. And he plays a down-on-his-luck porn star, who's an award-winning porn star. He's won a lot of AVN awards. And he has to go back to his hometown in Texas to his estranged wife and start selling drugs, but falls in love with a young 17 going on 18-year-old named Strawberry, who he thinks can be his meal ticket back into the porn industry. And this is such a surprisingly funny and emotional and just well-crafted moral story, and basically is like, hey, this guy isn't the greatest person, let's see him get rock bottom, try to pull himself back up, but him being an asshole, we're going to see where life takes him again. And it has all of the in-sync that you can want, because it has bye 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 in it like 4 times. Including one of the funniest scenes I've seen in a movie this year is just somebody running, with a lack of clothes to that NSYNC song, and it's absolutely hilarious. But Red Rocket's definitely one of those small indie films this year that really grabbed my attention.
I haven't seen it, but I remember I stumbling upon the trailer, watching other random smaller movies. I have to check it out, so I will.
Yeah, it should be. Well, that's a tricky thing. Basically, two movies are making money right now. Spider-Man and Sing 2, which Sing 2's on VOD now, so I don't know how much money that's going to still be making in theaters. But, Red Rocket has finally popped up in New Jersey, and I saw this Christmas night. Gotcha. I'm pretty sure. So, it was only in 6 theaters in all of New Jersey Christmas weekend, so we'll see where it is now. But, Matt, what's your number 9?
My number 9 is The Harder They Fall. So I clicked on this movie on Netflix, and I was like, oh yeah, I definitely like Jonathan Majors. I know this person. And then as this movie's going on, I had to pause it because I was like, is it Quentin Tarantino direct this? There's just so many very interesting things, like the music, the random the random kind of edits or weird camera angles, or just kind of the dialogue that doesn't really seem like it's going anywhere, but it's still interesting and snappy. The violence is just kind of all the way wall to wall over the top, not kind of all the way, over the top, in a really fun kind of way. I don't know. It's a colorful movie, except for that one town that has no color in it whatsoever, which is hilarious. But but it is a colorful movie
on purpose.
On purpose. It's great. It's great, honestly, truly, and I hope that they do make a sequel, the way that the cliffhanger at the end was just great. Just great.
They would have my money.
Yes.
Well,
your subscription.
Netflix would have my subscription because, yes, I did watch this on Netflix too. And with Jonathan Majors, Lakeith Stanfield, Idris Elba, Zazie Beetz, Regina King, Delroy Lindo, that one shot out that window across the whole entire town, up on top of that horse, I'm just like, this is some great filmmaking right here.
Definitely something special. And
I think we both at least have one Western on here. The Western I have on mine, I don't think Matt liked very much. But this movie, this was a great time, and it had a lot to say, and it was very much this is the atmosphere and the style of this movie, and it never shook. It was 100% itself all the way through, and it was a hell of a damn good time. And this is it made me happy because I'm Westerns are definitely not dead. As a huge fan of Westerns, Matt knows this, I love this movie a lot, so I definitely hope more people go check it out. It's on Netflix. Stop. I saw it's The Town blows up on Netflix. It's just The Town came out 10 years ago. Go watch The Harder They Fall.
Immediately.
Yes. My number 9 is West Side Story, which was one of your honorable mentions, right?
Yeah, that was something on my list.
So, West Side Story, I remember when they announced Steven Spielberg was remaking West Side Story, I'm but why? Because I'm this is a classic musical, why do you have to remake it? And then I saw it, and then I'm oh, this is why you remake it. And also because Steven Spielberg is a masterful director and made something really special. And some of the things felt improved upon than the original. The lack of brown face helped a lot. And because, Rachel Zegler, Ariana DeBose, and Rita Moreno are amazing in this film. Not the hugest fan of Ansel Elgort, but he was pretty great in it too. And Mike, Feist, who plays the leader of the one gang, he's fantastic too. This is a great cast. They don't reinvent the music. It's all the same music and stuff like that as the original film. But the singing and the performance and dancing in America, that sequence of the film, absolutely loved it. And that bold choice to take it off of the rooftop at night, secluded by themselves, and actually going through the streets of the city was so cool. And what they did with the Officer Krupke song was really well done too. And I felt emotionally, it's just an impeccably made film. It is Steven Spielberg. And he really shows that at this point in his career, he's still killing it. And I wouldn't be mad or disappointed if he winds up being voted my next director to go through all of his films on Welcome to the Wasteland, even though I've seen, like, almost every single one of them. It wouldn't be something where I'm experiencing and discovering new films, but, like, who could go wrong with, like, taking a deep dive through all of Steven Spielberg's movies? And West Side Story was a great addition.
I was, like, nervous, like, a bit there for, like, Spielberg, just because he was putting out some stuff that either wasn't interesting to me, or like it was like kind of like a disappointment. And I was
Ready Player One,
which
we saw together.
Oh yeah, and like I had such a blast. I know people will kind of like take shots at the book, but I had such a blast reading that book.
Love it.
But this was like, oh wow, okay, I forgot. I am so sorry, Mr. Steven.
Sorry, Mr. Spielberg. We know you're a genius. Sorry.
Yeah, like that was great. It was what's the actress's name again? The one that so you have like the female lead, and then her brothers,
Ariana DeBose, who plays, like, she is fantastic.
like electric. The dancing, the acting, the singing, the personality. Like, she was like a standout in that movie.
It's hard for me to warrant giving multiple Oscar nods to the same film for an acting category. Like, you really have to kill it. And I think DeBose and Moreno both deserve Best Supporting Actors for this movie.
Totally.
And how amazing would that be if Rita Moreno gets nominated at 90 years old to be in the remake of the movie that she got an Oscar for the first time?
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I hope it happens. Like, you Academy Award voters better do your job.
Or at least let her let her kind of like read like a nomination or something like that. But yeah, that was great.
So that was my number 9. So what's your number 8, Matt?
My number 8 is Don't Look Up. This movie, number 1, everybody should be looking up. No, but this movie, fantastic. It works on so many levels. If you have had your head in the sand for, I don't even want to say the last 4 years, just forever, it still works as like a really interesting kind of like commentary on just like human beings in general, and how maybe we are like a lot more like self-serving and self-centered than we ever want to really like admit, because human nature is pretty like dog eat dog and pretty terrible, and very short-sighted. But then if you have kind of like had your head kind of like stuck to social media, or stuck to like various like news outlets, you'll notice that, so the comment or the reactions to it, or some of the characters are actually like stand-ins for very real, very contemporary / recent things.
Climate change, COVID.
Yeah, like
other things.
Yeah, fantastic.
Take your pick.
Yeah, take your pick, and then like pick which one you want to cry about. Or get pissed off on Twitter. But yeah.
Well, and you know what's funny? You brought up Twitter. I think that Twitter might be the reason why I didn't love this movie as much.
Interesting. Why?
Here's the thing. So, like, I thought it was funny and I enjoyed it. I appreciate what it was trying to go for, but it didn't feel as fresh to me. And I don't know if it's because I hear all these jokes on a daily basis from other people on Twitter. And I think that's a challenging thing. If you're trying to be very topical, and like, this is going to be a weird comparison, but like, I used to watch Honest Trailers all the time. Mm-hmm. And then the more I spend on social media, Honest Trailers turned out to be not as funny because I heard other people making the same jokes all the time. Mm-hmm. That's why I don't think the Star Wars ones are very funny, because like, I've heard these jokes on the internet for like years. Yeah. And I think that's what happened watching. Like, I did think that Don't Look Up's trying to do too much. It's trying to tackle way too many different things. And the interesting thing about the film is you can take it to represent whatever you want to frame it as. Mm. But the acting in this, like Leo and Jennifer Lawrence, that was so refreshing seeing her like really digging into this role in this movie. There were some actors that I felt were a little wasted. Like, in the end, I don't know why Timothée Chalamet was in this movie, but besides like, hey, religion, and kind of like that. And also I think, what's his face? who got won the Oscar for Bridge of Spies, Mark Rylance. I think him and Jared Leto are going to go up against each other for the weirdest supporting actor role of the year.
That was the greatest. That was the greatest. And anytime he had like an odd monologue, like
that whole thing when he dug into Leo, I'm like,
oh yeah, when he was talking about like how he will die.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh shit.
Yeah, that was
like, oh my god.
But there was like so much inspired dialogue in that whole movie. It was just so funny.
You know who I thought was fantastic was Cate Blanchett.
Oh, I follow. I ever since I saw, what was that movie? Blue Jasmine. Like my brain will always be set to, I must follow this person anytime that they put out some kind of like cinematic effort. She's awesome.
She killed her and Tyler Perry as like the morning show kind of people, because that was exactly what it was taking shots at. Was like those those kinds of shows whatever the hell, those kinds of shows, and it's just like they did it so perfectly because everybody has to have a smile on, unless you're Fox News and everybody's just angry.
There we go.
Because. And you know what? This talks about that too. That when Leo freaks out though on air, I think Leo's found his new niche is playing really insecure people, and he plays it really well for somebody who's so famous.
Well, I wonder though. Do you feel like the first draft of the script had him being called the astronaut or the scientist? not the DILF. What is it? Whatever.
Elf.
Yeah, the elf. Yeah, the
astronomer. I'd like to F.
Yeah. Where the Leo say, "Okay, I'll sign on, but we're gonna make edits."
That's a good question. I think after Leo comes aboard in this, you know what was interesting? Leo and Jennifer Lawrence are supposed to be the leads in Nightmare Alley, and then they both left the project and showed up in this project.
Interesting.
Yeah, right? Good for Bradley Cooper, though. I love Nightmare Alley. I wish more people checked it out. But it died upon arrival. Thanks, Spider-Man.
Sorry, Guillermo. Please go back to monsters, but thank you.
There's some monsters in it. Not like, real monsters, but like human monsters. I'm looking at you, Richard Jenkins. That's all I'm going to say. Now, my number 8 was The Green Knight. And I remember sitting in the theater watching this. So actually, let's go back further. So, 2019, sitting in the theater, and like A24 pops up on a trailer. And this trailer played, and I'm just like, what is this movie? Like, I had to see it. And then when it got pushed back a whole entire year, I'm like, no! And then they started playing the same trailers again, and I still got so hyped for it. And when this finally came around and I saw this is a visual treat. This is the most incredible, like, 20-something million budgeted fantasy epic I've ever seen. Because it's so striking and so beautiful and done in such a tangible, in-camera kind of way. And Dev Patel is just like a force in this movie. There's not many things more haunting in cinema in 2021 than a headless Green Knight with Ralph Ineson's cackling laughter. How did you feel when he was riding off and started cackling like that when you were watching the movie? Because that gave me chills.
That was very disturbing. Very, very. Also, kind of like you can watch the trailer and see, okay, so I'm definitely going to, when I watch this movie, I'm going to look for just weird visuals, and the colors are going to be kind of like, not an assault, almost kind of like a feast for your eyes kind of thing, but like the sound.
Yes.
Like it's just like the Green Knight, for example, the weird creaking.
Yes.
Yeah, that is
how I sound every time I get out of my recliner. Just all my bones like. But the sound design in this film is impeccable. The score is so haunting and eerie. This is just one of the most amazing fantasy films I have ever seen. And that's saying something, because Lord of the Rings. But the thing is, it's like, it's so hard to make fantasy work, and I want to see more fantasy from David Lowery, because it feels like he has that careful touch to be able to make something visceral, and making something visceral and emotional, and yet fantastical. Like, you see these giants just random. Like, I remember the part that sold me in the trailer was when that giant hand came over, and I'm like, what is this? And when I saw that in the movie and what happens then, and then, my God, that camera twist.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a bold film from top to bottom. And for those of you who have seen Last Temptation of Christ, it pulls a fantastic storytelling technique that film does that just kind of leaves you like, well, wait a minute, at the end of the film, and it leaves you feeling a lot of things. And also, I have to say this because I said this to Matt while we were watching, because I told Matt that things were going to get a little horny. And Matt's like, this is more creepy than horny. And then I told Matt... what did I...
don't worry.
No, I said... Oh, no, I forgot. Crap. Because we were supposed to put this on a t-shirt. If I remember, we'll get back to it. But that's the last thing I have to say about The Green Knight. What's your number 7?
My number 7 is The Card Counter. So, the screenwriter for Taxi Driver...
Raging Bull, The Last Temptation of Christ.
Now he's directing like a lot more stuff. And he directed that Priest movie with...
First Reformed.
Yeah, there we go.
Which
yeah.
Vinny... If you ever bring up First Reformed to Vinny,
loves
gushing,
that.
yup.
Loves that. But this movie has Tiffany Haddish, Ty Sheridan, and Oscar Isaac. Tiffany Haddish, I like her as an actress. I hope that she, and this is probably, if I were to list off her filmography, this is probably the weirdest movie that she's ever done.
Yeah.
Or at least one, like top 3. Anyway.
And also like the straightest performance she's had to give.
I hope that she does like a lot more. I hope that she kind of like gets asked to do / puts herself into like more just like out of the box roles for her, not to get typecast or whatever. Ty Sheridan, like I've been watching that kid since he was an actual kid in, what was that? I think Mud. Right?
Yeah, and you know what was interesting? Jess and I watched Tree of Life recently. He was the little kid in that.
Oh, with the Terrence Malick or something? Excellent. Very cool, very cool.
So he's been acting since he was a child. And it was funny because Jess and I just watched The Tender Bar, and he's the lead kid in that as well, and now he's a college kid because they're adults now.
Yeah. But wow, Oscar Isaac, everybody knows that Oscar Isaac can act, and like he gets put into so many awesome roles, and he always hits it out of the park. Like I saw him in Dune.
Ex Machina.
Yeah, Ex Machina.
Disco.
Like, fantastic.
Dancing.
Yeah, that was kind of odd. Yeah. But oh man,
that was the best part of the movie, man.
But this movie, Shane, this is like, I think this guy, the director / screenwriter, I think he just really likes this antisocial kind of like outcasty. I don't want to say quirky.
Paul Schrader.
Yeah.
Think needs a warm blanket.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to hang out with him at Applebee's.
He's interesting to follow on Twitter, though.
Oh, you have him on Twitter?
So he's
follow him.
Fun fact: he lost. So what happened was he lost Best Original Screenplay to The Lost Daughter.
Gotcha.
And he was butthurt about it, and he's like, "I'm human. I was disappointed." And then I watched The Lost Daughter. And Maggie can best me anytime that she wants. Like, he had that much honest praise for The Lost Daughter. I'm like, good for you, man.
Excellent.
But, like, The Card Counter...
That's a hard movie.
It's a hard movie to sit through.
And also, there's a very large... I don't want to get too much into like the politics of it, but it definitely has like a very firm stance, and it's not kind of like apologizing for a certain thing, for certain historical thing, recent history.
I don't think Paul Schrader would apologize for anything.
Also that, like,
I'm just getting that vibe.
Yeah, he definitely has like a certain kind of like perspective on things. But no, the whole movie was just great. You can definitely tell that the screenplay was written after, like, he had to research probably so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I felt like I love screenplays where, like, I feel like I'm learning something, you know what I mean? It's like I'm watching something, I'm also, like, learning.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, maybe after this recording, maybe we should, like, plan, like, a Las Vegas trip and we can, like, do some card counting. But, like, not, like...
So I just watched Casino today, so I'm gonna say no. I don't want to get pulled in the back by Ace and have Robert De Niro being like, "Oh, so when you shuffle your cards, can you do it left-handed?" It's like, no, I can't. Bam, bam, bam. It's like, you're gonna have to learn how to. I'm just like, oh, no. He's like, if I ever see you again, I'm going to get that saw, and I'm going to use it. And I'm just like, nope, I'm good. I don't need to card count. Sorry. No, thank you. I'm good. Goodbye. So I'm going to pass, man.
No, great movie.
You don't really see that side of gambling in this movie, but you don't need to because you see plenty of other, like, darkest edges of humanity in the card counter.
Yeah.
And Oscar Isaac kills it. Mm-hmm. Kills it. He is somehow underrated. Because I feel like most people, like most mainstream people are like, oh, it's Poe, who really didn't get a chance to really shine in Star Wars. I'm interested to see what he does in Moon Knight, the new Marvel series that's going to be coming out soon. Because, like, that has Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke in it. I'm very interested. But, like, this film is dark. This is pitch black. And I didn't even, I should have expected, because I've watched plenty of films based off of his screenplays. Paul Schrader made Affliction, that Nick Nolte, James Colburn film from, like, 1999 that is just, like, Depression, the movie. And, like, First Reform, that I should have expected what was going to happen, but I still couldn't expect what happened in this movie.
Yeah.
So
also the weird camera angle thing. You remember that? Like, especially like the first time. Like, I don't know what that's called.
Oh, the weird fisheye lens.
Yeah, like that is
to distort you, and this film purposely tries to really mess you up at times.
Yeah.
And make you feel the warped reality of, like, because it deals with, like, torture during, like, the War on Terror and stuff like that. It has a lot to say about that.
Yeah.
And now for something equally as depressing. My number 7 is Quo Vadis Ada. And this is a Bosnian film focusing on the Bosnian War. And it's a woman who's trying to help out with, like, negotiating and trying to get these refugees out during this, like, with Serbia and Bosnia. And this led to the deaths of, like, thousands upon thousands of innocent people. This film is a harrowing drama. And what's so interesting is, like, this came out this year in 2021, but came out in time to be nominated for the Oscars this past year. And everybody had their focus on Another Round, including myself. I'm like, if anything beats Another Round for Best International Film this year, I'm going to riot. And Another Round was, like, my number 2 or 3 film of 2020. And then I watched this film because I saw a lot of people being like, Another Round should not have won over this film. And I saw this film like, damn. This is a much more important film than Another Round because, that's just a movie about a bunch of middle-aged guys perpetually drunk. And it is very human and moving and has the most cathartic movie ending I've seen in a long time. But this film is so, like, the ending of this movie is haunting and extremely emotional. And I think this has one of the most unnerving shots in cinema in 2021 of what it doesn't show. But what it infers is happening. And then what follows reinforces the worst that you thought was happening at that moment. And when a film can do that. Like, it reminded me of the shot in Prisoners. when Roger Deakins and Denis Villeneuve just hold on to a shot of a tree. And you don't know why. And it's just sitting on that tree. And then, but the more you watch the film, the more you notice, you stop hearing the girls. Because when they're holding on to that shot of the tree, the girls are being kidnapped. And this film has a shot like that. Like it's holding on to like a shot of a wall, and you know exactly what's going on, but you don't want to see what's going on, but it's just as hard. And this is a really impactful, emotional, devastating film, and I appreciate how bold it was to not pull punches and know when to show restraint too. So like, if you're in the mood, double feature Card Counter and Quo Vadis Ada and really mess with your evening.
Actually, a Card Counter had like another one of those scenes, like towards the end, when it's kind of like, well, there's going to be something, we can show this thing, or you can just listen to it and then see kind of like
the aftermath
of the aftermath. Actually, where can you see this movie that you just listened to?
I rented. Oh no, you know what? I think it's on Hulu. I have to double check. It's either on I think it's on Hulu, and you could just watch it.
What is this called again?
Quo Vadis Ada. So QUOVADIS, comma AIDA question mark, because it's a question.
I'm taking notes.
There you go.
As all of you should.
Yes. Now, Matt, what is your number 6?
Yeah,
6.
So this is a very interesting movie. So to get ready for like this listing you and I are doing, I was kind of like, okay, so what movies have I not seen / that I can see kind of like immediately? And I was like, you know what I haven't seen? I haven't seen that Mitchells versus the Machines movie. And I remember thinking, okay, this is funny. Okay, this is quirky. It's interesting. Definitely people I usually don't see kind of characters kind of like talking like this. This is like really, really like realistic, but then also just like bursting with personality. And then there's like that conversation between, I think it's Maya Rudolph's character and what's the actor that plays Danny McBride, I think?
Yeah. Danny McBride was so great in this.
And completely agree. And she was talking to him about you always. The thing that I love about you is that you always throw yourself into things that need to be fixed, but the relationship that you have with our daughter is something that is broken and needs you, because if she goes off to college without you having fixed it, it might not ever be fixed. And that was, like, I actually, like, paused it, finished the scene, rewound it, and then, like, let that scene play out again. That is not, and there's like other random tiny little scenes like that too, where it's kind of like, oh, this movie is like going full Pixar. We're going full Pixar.
I got a little chill when he just said that.
Yeah.
Like quoting the movie.
Yeah.
Because
that was great.
You do not see neurodiverse characters be portrayed so respectfully like they are in this film too. I think that's so interesting too, and I just love the passion that the main character has for film and filmmaking. It's like Ed Wood, where you could just like feel it, except she's probably a lot better than Ed Wood.
And wouldn't steal Samuel Jackson's Best Supporting Actor.
I knew it! I can't bring up Ed Wood ever without...
I have seen Pulp Fiction so many times. Up until that point, I was like, let's just watch this Ed Wood movie. And I'm watching it, and it's like, that's it? This old guy is just weird.
Pull the strings!
He's just like an annoying vampire man. Like, what the hell?
He was a heroin addict, Matt.
Whatever.
There was some great acting in it. But anyway, that's not Mitchells versus the Machines. This has a lot of fun commentary on technology.
Oh, also is definitely making a stance. 100%. Like, every time they say, you know what, maybe selling people's data for money, maybe that wasn't the greatest idea. Like, they'll have, like, very obvious jokes, and it's almost kind of, but it's not, like, hidden by anything, and sometimes it's almost kind of like, it just, like, said just, like, that flat. Wait, and then goes to the next scene. Like, I love that. This movie, fantastic. Also, I love the very end with the credits and you see like there's like a real Mitchell family and it's like like aw.
And like the action in this too was bonkers too. It was just a fun time. And like this movie hit me and I was not ready for this. I don't think I was emotionally ready for this when I watched it because it hit on such a level. I'm like, damn, this movie is so amazing and sweet and just hits there.
I love when movies, they reward you for paying attention. So like
there's a lot of detail.
Yeah, like do you remember the little like the wooden moose? I saw this so recently, that's why I'm like gushing about it. So like I think I saw it like on Tuesday or something. Remember like the wooden moose or something like that? And it's brought up in the beginning of the movie. It's something that she throws away, and like the dad looks sad about it. And you get to like the end, and it's like, oh, that's the reason why the dad is sad about that. Not just because of what you think, but just like a very large reason. There's so many awesome, heartfelt moments. It's good for families, but it's also kind of like good for sort of like anybody. It's about being human.
Yeah. Instead of machines.
Instead of machines. And then cue the Terminator thing. You should have the Terminator.
Matt knows me well enough to not get me on my robophobia. But, and now for something that I also was not emotionally ready for, my number 6, which was The Father. Very different speed, though. Let's turn back the clock a bit, back to the Oscars. So, when they made the bonehead decision to not have Best Picture on at the end, because they were banking on Chadwick Boseman winning Best Actor for Ma Rainey, which he was absolutely amazing. They underestimated the fact that Sir Anthony Hopkins probably gave the best performance of his career. And that's a very, very long career. And this is a very, very emotionally devastating performance and movie. Florian Zeller is able to craft probably one of the most uncomfortable experiences and representations of dementia because you feel like you're him. Because there's random parts in the film where the actors change because he doesn't recognize his own family. And it's just like, wait a minute, that's a different Olivia. Because it has Olivia Colman and Olivia Williams in it. And it's just like, you're in his mind. And there's a fluidity to the editing of how this film goes where it goes into, like, he's in the middle of a conversation and all of a sudden he's on a completely different day. And it just goes so fluid with how this film's edited and directed. You're in this space. And this is like capital A acting going on in this film. And Anthony Hopkins is killing it. Olivia Colman is killing it. And the last scene of this film is one of the most emotionally devastating scenes of acting I have seen in a long time. I remember sitting down and being like, I need to squeeze this in before the Oscars, and being like, this was my number 1 film of 2021 for a decent chunk of the year, up until later in, because like if I'm looking here, like this was probably my number 1 film for at least like 3-4 months, where it was just like nothing was hitting me on an emotional level like this. And similar to, like, I know Chris Stuckman had a whole entire video about this specifically, but, like, I lived in the household with my grandmother who had dementia for 8 years. And this hit on a whole other level for myself watching this film. And, like, if you haven't seen this, be prepared. Don't go into this thinking, like, this is going to be some kind of nice movie, because it's not. And it's going to leave you in a place where you're very emotionally vulnerable. But when a film could do that, I think the last film that I felt this vulnerable after watching was probably Marriage Story. Because that also hit me on a really personal level, coming from a divorced parent family. And just being like, yeah, the father will do that. I saw that you wrote it down. So you haven't seen it?
I have not seen it. I heard about it, and then every single time I watched a review on YouTube for it, like the at some point during the review, they would kind of give kind of like a, like, hey, it's like trigger warning, and then they would say kind of like certain things about the movie, and I guess it's funny. Just for some reason, I just every time I really want to watch it, I just can't bring myself to watch it.
And here's the thing. This is not the kind of this isn't like Mitchell versus the Machines where you're like, "Oh my god, I can't wait till I finally get to see this." Like I'm like, this is such a great film, but like I have to be like I'm not the kind of person honestly that needs to be in a certain headspace to watch a movie. But like this will leave you in a certain headspace after watching the movie.
Yeah, I feel like the only time I ever really feel that way is kind of like with horror. It's like, okay, I need to like, prepare myself. But this is
my
kind
body
of
must be willing.
Yeah, but like this is kind of like maybe like, well, not horror, but definitely it's something so like viscerally impactful.
It's emotionally horrifying. From like a very deeply human perspective.
Yeah.
But what's your number 5? We're in our top 5 now.
All right, so I went to there's this really awesome theater in New York called Alamo Drafthouse. Like
I've never been to an Alamo Drafthouse.
We have to go tonight. No, I'm kidding. Well, what time is it right now anyway?
9:30.
Yeah, we're not doing that tonight. But because we live 2 hours away from New York.
Yeah, and I'm 30, he's 29. We're not like young adults anymore.
Yeah, I have like the back of like a 40-year-old sometimes. Why do I sleep on the couch? I don't know. But in any event, TMI. Dune. I went to see the movie Dune.
Dang.
And it was fantastic. And the cool thing about Alamo Drafthouse is that you can get like food and stuff there. So I asked for a milkshake, and it was cool. Except they put that's just like a a vanilla milkshake with whipped cream. But then you like covered the whole thing with spice, which was really cinnamon. They didn't really ask me if I wanted cinnamon. Can you be allergic to cinnamon? I don't know. But aside from that,
that's a tough taste though.
Yeah, but I loved it. I mean, I love the movie, and also I love cinnamon. But like,
must go to Arrakis.
It was so.
They covered it in spice.
Yes, like Shane, this movie was so good. I remember when the first trailer came. I've never read the books. I've never seen the original movie.
Pink Floyd in the background.
Yeah, like I've never I don't have like this I don't have like this connection to it. When I saw the trailer, like most people, number one, I was like, give me more cowbell. Give me more sandworm. Give me more sandworm now. No, but like fantastic trailer. Saw this movie. I thought it was great. I thought that this movie pulled off something that, for me, Infinity War did not pull off in terms of, okay, so there's gonna be something else after this, but this is its own. This is a movie. This is a complete story. This is it. I don't feel like I felt like angry and cheated at the end of Infinity War. I was pissed off actually, and I saw the movie like 3 times.
To be fair, it was a complete hero's journey, just not the hero you wanted.
Also that too, but like
it was Thanos' story. Thanos won, and he sat down on a thankful universe at the end.
Yeah, that was yeah.
It was very sad for all of us.
Yeah, I had a lot of feelings about that too. Like Mr. Stark, but no, Dune, fantastic movie. All the actors there's like so many actors, even for like tiny little bits of time. Like there's like you can't blink or you'll miss like a random kind of just like cameo or whatever. Just fantastic movie. I think that it was the perfect marriage of awesome special effects.
The special effects. If this doesn't win the Oscar for visual effects,
yeah,
what the hell's wrong with all of you?
Yeah, like awesome, like practical stuff. Like awesome stuff.
Yeah, they got those real giant worms.
Yeah, like wild. Yeah, they'll be in the aisle at the red carpet. No, like the
best supporting actress. Giant worms.
I'd like to think. No, like the subtitle would be "I'd like to think," and then it's like a list of things. The music starts playing, then it eats somebody. No, but it's a fantastic movie. Fantastic. I feel like everyone did see Dune. Like, how much money did that make?
It made good money. For the kind of movie it is.
Oh, it didn't like smash hit kind of thing?
No, but like it made money, which was shocking, to be honest. Because like here's the thing. You know what didn't make money? Blade Runner 2049. You know why? This is hard science fiction. This is a long, hard science fiction movie. And, like, you can't just go out there and be like, hey, non-nerds here are going to go out in droves to go see this hard science fiction movie.
Over and over
Again, yeah, exactly, because that's really how you make money. Spider-Man. I knew people that went to see Spider-Man like 4 times its first weekend. I'm like, how do you have time to dedicate to watch the same movie 4 times in a weekend that's 2.5 hours and 30 minutes of credit and trailers? That's 12 hours of your life you spent watching just Spider-Man and trailers that weekend. But the thing is, so I'm going to share a little story about my experience watching Dune. There's 2 crying babies.
Strike 1.
2. There's 2 babies.
2 strikes.
Yes. And then there was a teenager yelling at the parents of the babies. I'm like, there's strike 3. And it was funny because Jess and I saw it at AMC Neshaminy right after I saw The French Dispatch. Great evening. Also got my booster that day. Just barely, like, by the end of Dune, I could barely lift my arm. I'm like, oh no! And I did get home before the fever started, and then I couldn't get off the couch Sunday. But the thing is, like, those babies were shrieking. Why would you take babies to see Dune?
That is a loud movie.
It is. Like, Hans Zimmer's score, oh my god. If Hans Zimmer doesn't win an Oscar, this is Hans Zimmer versus Johnny Greenwood. I'm 100% convinced. One of them is winning the Oscar for composing this year. The score, the sound design, the acting from everybody. And, like, I was shocked with how they brought the Baron to life. Like, that whole Apocalypse Now, like, him completely butt-ass naked, like, bald head rubbing. I'm like, oh my god, it's Colonel Kurtz. It's Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando should have been the Baron. Right?
That would have been
he should have been the Baron in David Lynch's Dune. That would have been perfect casting. But, like, Stellan Skarsgård's great. Dave Bautista's barely in it, but, you know, he's intimidating. You have Timothée Chalamet, and you have Oscar Isaac. Rebecca Ferguson kills it. Love her in this. You have very little bit of Zendaya. We're supposed to get a lot more Zendaya in the next one. Just Javier Bardem in his small part of the film. Josh Brolin. I want more Gurney. And this is, like, Denis Villeneuve knows science fiction. My god. I think he might go down, and this is, like, obviously a lot of recency bias, but he's one of the best science fiction filmmakers in, like, this generation. Between Arrival, to Blade Runner 2049, and Dune. Like, come on now. It's just so amazing to look at, and there was scale to this movie. I felt intimidated sitting in the theater watching that worm come up and just like... And I saw James Cameron's throwing some shade at the Marvel movies for not really capturing real scale. And Dune certainly captures it. There's something impressive about that.
Yeah, that was a fantastic movie. I'll say the one last thing. So I saw the movie with a friend of mine, Ramsey, and he was like, I wonder how much money Zendaya got just to kind of like look over her shoulder for like 15 minutes of the runtime. Oh man, no, but great.
Yeah,
movie.
but you know what? She probably put a bunch of butts in seats though.
Oh, definitely, and also.
And then they showed up to the movie. I'm like, where's Zendaya?
Yeah, it's like, and also Euphoria is coming out in a couple of weeks.
No, comes out tomorrow.
Oh, LOL.
Yes, Euphoria and Righteous Gemstones, both season 2 come out on HBO tomorrow night. As we're filming this on Saturday,
nice.
The 8th. So the 9th, by this video coming out, it'll already be out. So go check out the new Euphoria season.
Nice.
I'm super jazzed about the Righteous Gemstones because I love that show. My number 5 is 9 Days, which honestly might be the most obscure movie on either of our lists. And this is from writer-director Edson Oda and tells the story of a being who's responsible for interviewing other souls to judge who gets an opportunity to have a human life. And this is like out in the desert in this random home, and Winston Duke is this entity who is doing these interviews, and this cast has Benedict Wong, Zazie Beetz, Tony Hale.
Yes.
Which Skarsgård is it? Peter Skarsgård?
All of them.
Bill Skarsgård. Sorry. Peter Sarsgaard is married to Maggie Gyllenhaal. Alexander Skarsgård and Bill Skarsgård are Stellan Skarsgård's kids. There you go. You're welcome. And this is incredibly acted, just beautiful and extremely emotional film. And like how Another Round had the most cathartic ending of a movie in 2020, this had the most cathartic ending of 2021 for me. And like this was the kind of thing that just welled up a sense of emotion in me where I'm like, I kind of wanted to start tearing up and I didn't know why. It just had that kind of feel of like the beauty of humanity and just raw emotion. Benedict Wong's hilarious. He is such a great character in this film. Winston Duke is so vulnerable and going through so much, and this was just an incredibly emotional experience and something really special. And now I want to see what else Edson Oda does moving forward, because this was one of the most unique and creative films of the year, and also one of the most emotionally resonant. So, yeah, that's 9 days.
Excellent. Awesome.
Is that another one for your list, Matt?
I'll think about it. I mean, I like every
I'm emotionally devastating Matt tonight.
Yeah, it's like more comedy? No, I'm kidding.
Actually, I'm sitting here looking at my list. Yeah, basically, I'm the complaint that people have of, like, when did the Oscars not be fun anymore?
Yeah. I'm looking at... Well, never mind. I'll get to that one in a second.
Yeah. But what's your number 4?
So my number 4 is Tick, Tick,
Boom!
This movie... So I'm not someone that, likes musicals all that much, so I clicked on this thing... just, hoping... I'm clicking on this because I like the lead, you know what I mean? And I think...
That's fair enough.
I think that this movie was fantastic. I've been listening to 5 songs over and over again.
That one song with him and Vanessa Hudgens.
Come to Your Senses. And my favorite is the version, that same song, but over the end credits. This movie... So I want to one day... I mean, I'm already in one field that is very different from screenwriting or film, just whatever, film production.
We're going to make a movie someday.
One day. But, I don't know. Also subscribe. Help us out. No, but...
Make that dream happen.
Do your part. But it made me think throughout the whole movie, just the idea of trying not for fame or for to be recognized, but trying and just creating just because you have a story or just because you have something on the inside of you that says, I can't have this just sitting in my heart or in my head. It has to be out. Which also kind of implies, actually one of the songs at the end is, I'm going to have to be okay with the idea of being, for the rest of my life, being wildly poor and bohemian and yet still doing this thing that I love. That is so beautiful. It's it's a scary thought, and I feel like in the wrong hands that can be kind of it can be kind of irresponsible, if you don't have a backup or if you don't know what about the field that you're going to get into. But
at least I know math.
Yeah. But damn, this movie, it is so awesome. There's a song in there about, so I'm 29, there's a song in there about becoming 30.
Oh my god. So I literally watched this on my 30th birthday. And I was sitting there because this came out on November 19th on Netflix. And I'm sitting there that night watching and I'm like, shit. Oh.
You're it's not that scary. It's not that scary. 30's fine.
I'm fine.
No, but this movie...
2 months later.
This movie's just great. It just has an awesome energy to it. I didn't see in the Heights. That didn't really seem like it was something that I would kind of connect with, and I forced myself to watch West Side Story. Happy that I did though. Mostly happy that I did.
I went in pretty skeptical about West Side Story and came out I'm a believer now.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, Mr. Steven.
Yeah, exactly.
But, like, oh man, like, Tick Tick Boom, such an awesome. I'm not gonna, if for anyone who doesn't know who the guy is, I'm not gonna spoil, 'cause I completely forgot who this guy was. And then I remember, like, oh crap, that's who he is, because then you find out, like, how the rest of his life plays out.
Yeah.
But it's such a good movie. It is so great. Netflix, like, I forget, there was, like, a random filmmaker, like a few years ago that was talking about, like, Netflix movies or extreme movies, and it's like, oh, like, that's, like...
It was Steven Spielberg.
It was Steven Spielberg? Yeah. It was Steven Spielberg.
And it's just like, Netflix is killing it. Actually, you know what? So, Tick Tick Boom...
I forgot it was Steven Spielberg.
It was.
I completely...
Well, multiple of your top 10 are Netflix films. Mm-hmm. My number 2 is a Netflix film. Mm. And it's a thing where it's like, and one of them is an Apple TV Plus. My number 4 is an Apple TV Plus film. It's a different time. And
that's okay.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, you could go to the movies and you could sit on your ass at home and stream movies too. Like, there's plenty of things to check out on VOD that people don't go see. Because that's the thing, too, because, like, not every film gets a theatrical release. It gets one, but nobody sees it, so then it never comes outside of New York. It's like, it's real easy for you to live in LA and be like, go to the cinema. I'm like, well, thanks a lot, asshole, because the Souvenir Part 2 hasn't come here yet. Mm-hmm. Literally only playing in Brooklyn at one theater. In, like, anywhere near here. And I'm just like, I'm not going all the way to Brooklyn during a pandemic, during a surge, just to go see the second part of an A24 drama with Tilda Swinton and her daughter. Even though I really want to see that damn movie.
During a surge. Sorry, keep going. That was funny.
I haven't been in a city yet since all of this has happened, so... but Tick Tick Boom, though... Loved it. This is one of the most unique, energizing musicals I have seen, period. Mm. And this is not like your big, like, everybody singing and dancing all the time kind of musical. It's such an interesting approach to it. And Lin-Manuel Miranda is so talented. And Andrew Garfield, if you ever questioned him as, like, a legitimate actor, where it says Oscar...
Oh, yeah.
Like...
Definitely.
It's a tough, like, this, every year's a tough year, but, like, this is such a tough year because you have Will Smith, who I feel like's long overdue. Mm-hmm. Denzel really would deserve it if he got it for Macbeth.
Not Little Things?
Why did Jared Leto get nominated for Best Supporting Actor for that movie? Who are you kidding? Why do they just want to give him Best Supporting Oscar nominations? If he gets one for House of Gucci, for Mario that he was playing, like, you gotta be kidding me. But anyway, Andrew Garfield deserves an Oscar for this movie. And who played Alexandria Shipp? Loved her as his girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
And that duet she has with Vanessa Hudgens was amazing. That was the one that really stuck with me the most out of this film. But, like, this was such a great year for musicals, and I love musicals. So, like, I'm the opposite coin of here with Matt, and we both love Tick Tick Boom. Yeah. So, you should go watch it.
Definitely.
And that was your number 4. My number 4 is one that I did get to see, and is The Tragedy of Macbeth. Because, thank God, it finally dropped this week on the Apple TV Plus screener room. Because I was worried, because, like, you know how you were disappointed that you didn't see The Green Knight, and then I just so happened to buy it for you for Christmas?
Telepathic.
It was the weirdest thing. He texted me before he came over tonight. He's like, I'm still, like, disappointed I didn't get to see The Green Knight, and I'm sitting there like, I'm about to give it to him.
I love that.
And we watched it.
I love that.
But I got to watch this week, and this is one of the most bold, interesting approaches to a Shakespeare adaptation I've seen. Period. The black and white, the strange mixture of what looks like a stage play mixed with a film using a minimalist landscape approach to the set design, and then some extremely talented actors. Like, it's hard to find a better, more prestigious combo of actors today than Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand. It would have had to been like Denzel and Streep, basically, for you to have done better. And Denzel kills it when he does the dagger scene. Is this a dagger that I see lie before me? Like, he gave me chills. I'm looking at Denzel Washington, like, being Denzel Washington. And Frances McDormand, though, she had one look in this movie that earned her an Oscar. It was the most aggressive side eye I think I have ever seen in a movie. Hey, if you get a chance to watch it, I'm pointing out exactly what side eye I'm talking about because it was pretty amazing.
That's funny.
But Brendan Gleeson was great in it. Corey Hawkins.
Brendan Gleeson's in this movie?
Yeah, he's King Duncan.
Okay.
So obviously he's not in it that much, if you've ever read Macbeth. So I am spoiling a hundreds-of-year-old play for all of you. I'm sorry.
You're like, la, la, la.
Like, and this is only an hour 45 minutes. It's like Macbeth abridged, and like the abridging is good. Like, it's a streamlined, effective movie, does exactly what the story needs, with great acting, and it's strikingly beautiful, and the sound design is incredible, too. There's a couple of moments of, like, little drops of blood, and they land with a and then a slam cut to somebody reacting, like, across the castle, and it was just such a visceral decision. Like, I'm a huge Coen Brothers fan, so, like, Joel Coen killed it in his first effort without his brother. And it made me really sad when I heard that the Coen brothers broke up.
Wait, what do you mean?
Ethan Coen apparently is only doing stage plays now. So, like, Joel Coen did this by himself.
Interesting.
This was not Coen brothers. It was just Joel Coen.
I wonder why. I will Google that later.
And you know what's interesting is I heard it's because Ethan wanted to do more stage stuff, and then Joel did a stage movie. Apparently Frances McDormand, who's his wife, was like, I really want to play Lady Macbeth. So I guess it pays to have your husband be a director and you being one of the greatest actors in the world, and then you get what you want.
Also that
That
would help. That would help.
And this is from A24 and Apple TV Plus, which is interesting. And great shout out to Catherine Hunter, who plays the witches in this. She's like straight Gollum. Like, you get introduced to her and she's like, this gravelly voice. And it's just so creepy. And she's doing these body contortions and stuff. And I'm like, what? And this is just such a strange and unique experience. So it's something you have to experience. So highly recommend. It's also in Old English. So, like, it's in, like, the actual Shakespearean text, like all the dialogue. So you might have some workout for you. Paying attention to all the details. But what's your number 3? We're getting places.
Okay, so I feel like
we have the same number 3.
Excellent. Okay.
So there we go.
Funny. Okay, so this movie is Spencer.
Yes, Spencer.
This movie is fantastic. It's hard to think of anybody else that I would want to get like Best Actress, like awards, not even nominations, like the actual award, like that's.
If Kristen Stewart doesn't win this,
she is fantastic. Like the whole cast
maybe
is really
Olivia
awesome.
Colman for The Lost Daughters, like the only real competition she has.
Honestly, but even I like this movie way better than The Lost Daughter, and The Lost Daughter was pretty cool. But wow, that movie, Spencer, this movie you might have to do like just the tiniest bit of homework to realize kind of like how certain scenes in the movie relate to, because it's only a couple of nights of her life and that is it. So,
it is a slice of Princess Diana's life.
Yeah,
at the worst Christmas ever.
Yeah, like in-laws are terrible, whether or not you're royalty. But yeah, like. So you might do like a little bit of homework to realize, okay, so that's the reason why, or at least that's what the movie is saying is the reason why that she cares about this particular philanthropic effort, or I care about like this thing or that. Like that's it is so interesting and so damn sad. I don't know if everything was like factually, I don't know, like accurate, but wow.
I think close enough.
I like even if it was like half of that, it shatters any like want for anyone wanting to be like royal, because it's like wow, okay, yeah, definitely don't want that, but
Doesn't seem like a fun time.
yeah, I would say. I mean, I feel like I feel like both of us could do kind of like content warnings for like many of the films that we listed, even the Mitchell one a little bit too, because like pretty violent. Like there's like a scene where that one of the robots get like impaled. I was like, whoa, this is a kids movie. What the hell's going on? But
to be fair, Olaf also got impaled.
yeah. But just like Spencer, like I would say there's very, very just on-screen depiction of some pretty rough mental health stuff going on, like deterioration.
Pearls.
Yeah, like
all I'm gonna say is pearls.
All I'm gonna say is I think what was that, like a pair of pliers? Like I think that was it. Either that or something like used to garden. Yeah, just like a lot of stuff, but it's also even interesting too because that stuff. It's almost kind of like it makes you kind of like do like this in your seat, but that stuff it's not kind of like it's not meant to is to make it kind of like what is the word gratuitous? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not shameful and
it's respectful.
Like this isn't like Saw.
Yeah.
Like or Hostel trying to be like we're gonna gross you out for the sake of grossing you out. Yeah. It's to capture the unbelievable weight and anxiety and stress that is pressed upon this woman who's not fully capable of handling it all.
And alienation.
And alienation because like she has a horrible marriage. Mm-hmm. She doesn't feel like she has anybody to really connect to except her kids, which is really sad because the weight that she puts on her children in that situation then also is really toxic and uncomfortable and sad. And you feel for William and Harry in this film, but you also see her as a mother and see them interacting with each other, and it's so wonderful. And this is one of the most haunting and unnerving biopics I think I've ever seen. And Pablo Larraín, who directed this along with Jackie, that Natalie Portman, Jackie Kennedy film, and also did a film called Emma that I just got a chance to watch for the second time. I had a screener link for it last year, and then it came out on Blu-ray. This is coming out on Blu-ray this month, and I got an advanced copy of the Blu-ray. He is such an amazing director and able to capture just atmosphere and tension, and this feels like almost a horror movie at times with how tense it gets. And Kristen Stewart's portrayal of Princess Diana is so fully realized to the point like running. There's one scene running across the field and the running is so particular. Like this is a different person running. Like this is this woman, and I was so skeptical when I heard Kristen Stewart, who I'm also much more on the Kristen Stewart bandwagon of like she's a really talented actress. I know it's easy to make fun of Twilight, but let's be real here. Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson are amazing actors.
And those were like many years ago.
Yeah, and also, you can't always deal with the crap that's shoveled to you in some of the roles that you have. And she is just an embodiment of this character, and I was shocked. And also, Johnny Greenwood's score is... between this and The Power of the Dog, Johnny Greenwood's getting nominated for some Oscars this year. But yeah, this is just such a powerful film, and I have a decent amount of knowledge about the royal family and stuff like that, which I felt like I was able to pick up on a lot of this stuff. But also shout-outs to Timothy Spall, Sean Harris, and Sally Hawkins for some great supporting roles as some of the other people working at this mansion. And they, like, the supporting roles are great. Like, Timothy Spall has a thankless position in this movie. Sean Harris, who also played King Arthur in The Green Knight, got to be the head chef guy who had some great moments. And I loved every second Sally Hawkins and Kristen Stewart spent together on screen, and I'm also shipping them.
Yeah. That ending was great. And it was great. It was great.
Like, you should have just ran away with her.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
Also, speaking of cathartic endings, them driving off in that car with William, Harry, and Diana to the music that was playing and them getting fast food, that was just... It was great.
That movie was
Loved
so
it.
awesome. Shane.
What did they get? KFC?
Yeah, I think they got KFC.
Yep.
Yeah. That movie was so... And they just... it was like I had civilian clothes on. And it is also... something I don't usually care about, but like, wow, the wardrobe stuff, like costume and wardrobe. Whoa! Also, yeah, there was like
They looked like rich people.
This movie has so much to say, and it was so
well, and you know what? It was relevant too. It was narratively and thematically important to the costumes, which I think added extra layers to it too, because of the judgment on what she wore and what she didn't wear. So she couldn't even make any decisions on her own. It's really messed up.
Yeah, she wasn't like it. She wasn't really like a person. She was kind of like a doll.
Yeah.
But except like with humanity kind of just like right under the surface, but it's not able to be kind of like shown. That movie was so great.
Now, Matt, that was both our number 3, so you get to do your number 2.
All right, so this movie is Antlers. This movie...
Not those kind of antlers.
Was... Shade, this movie was so good, and like, I don't know why people didn't like it as much as I liked it. I remember every single time I saw the trailer for this, like on YouTube, I never skipped it. I never skipped it.
And Scott Cooper is such a talented director. Also, if you haven't seen Hostiles, which is a Western by Scott Cooper, check it out.
This movie, Shane, I'm assuming you saw Antlers, right?
I saw this with Ethan, my brother. So Ethan was definitely one of the people who did not like this as much. And because like he is a big... So I've come to realize I made the assumption when I was younger that my brother was a big horror movie fan. As it turns out, my brother is a big slasher movie fan.
Gotcha.
There's a big difference. Because every time I try to recommend him supernatural horror, he's just like, what the F did you just recommend me? And he came to Antlers with me, and this is like 90 minutes or so, and he turned to me, he's like, you know how Endgame felt like it was an hour and a half long? This feels like it's 3 hours long. And I'm like, damn, Ethan. But this is, I'm going to let you talk about, because it is your number 2, but like, this is a unnerving, also like theme of tonight, emotionally devastating.
Yeah, this movie is bloody. It is angry. It is, I haven't seen like a more hopeless movie ever outside of maybe The Road. You know what I mean? Like everything.
You know what's more hopeless than the movie The Road?
What?
The book The Road.
Yeah, should I read that? I bought that.
It's a great book.
I bought that in college, and I've never like wanted to read it. I don't know why.
Haley has a tattoo based off of The Road.
Nice.
Yeah, cool. I was there with her when she got it. Freaked me the hell out. I had needles. I was being a good friend. But like, this is definitely that bleak. This is a bleak film and grotesque, and don't mess with Wendigos.
Yeah, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Also, don't mess with like opioids either, because that
yes, theme of this movie. West Virginia is effed up by opioid crisis. It feels like any mining town has some serious drug problems.
Yeah.
And this film definitely showed a town destroyed by drug issues. And the unnerving and like abusive background that Kerry Russell and Jesse Plemons come from, that's so hard. And like especially the kid, like his household that kid's growing up in. Ugh.
That kid definitely. I don't know if it's like award worthy, but definitely I hope this person continues to act, because that they make this kid in that movie put themselves in some wild scenarios, like on screen wild scenario. Like remember, like towards the end with the little brother. Hey, before I do this, I'm gonna tell you what I'm about to do, and you have to be okay with it. Okay. Like that's. It is a sad movie with there's like multiple content warnings I could probably like trigger warnings I could probably give, but I would say watch it if you can take number one, very easily, super easy. Go to Google, type in story the movie Antlers was based on, read that. Fantastic. It's just like really short read. Maybe take you like 15-20 minutes. And then watch this movie, and it is just so interesting how dark and weird this movie is, but it's not just weird and dark because there's this creature running around. Also, this creature is throughout the movie metamorphizing into something more and more and more terrible.
Oh my god. At the end, when they showed its face.
Yeah. And then it takes that face off. Or when it's eating the bear.
This was... I should have been ready based off of that trailer, but I was not ready for when they reveal what this thing actually looked like. And just like so grotesque and just like, oh my god. And there's some things about it that didn't make it that high like it is for you, and like there's definitely some points where they fell into some horror movie tropes, like why'd Jesse Plemons go up to that shed after, like, come on man, dumb. But the thing, and like by the time you get to the very end of this film, you realize how bleak and hopeless this is, and you're just like, wow, Oscar goes to most bleak, hopeless movie of the year, Antlers.
Yeah, that movie, but just for me, it's just a cut above, several cuts above. Like when you think of like a horror movie, right, or like a creature in the woods. This movie has a lot to say. It almost makes me kind of want to like I don't know, like look up underfunded schools and maybe like donate or something. I don't know. This movie has a lot, and it is fantastic, and that is my number 2 of 2021.
Speaking of Jesse Plemons, my number 2 of the year was The Power of the Dog, and based off of Matt's Letterboxd score that I saw, I'm like, I don't think Matt's gonna agree with me on this. This was one of those kinds of films where it took until the last 20 minutes, like actually probably like 15 minutes of this movie to realize how much I absolutely love this movie. And like when the credits started rolling, I had an epiphany sitting there like, oh my god, I think I did love this movie. And I think what happened was, because like there's great acting in this. Like Benedict Cumberbatch too, speaking of like great acting performances this year, what a bastard. He was such a piece of crap in this movie, and he sold it so well. And what is it, Bronco Henry?
The mentor.
All the memes that are popping up all over the place after Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, there's memes coming out of this thing?
Yes.
I will Google that later.
Look up Bronco Henry memes. Oh my god. But the thing is, it's like, there is a lot of commentary on toxic masculinity, repressed homosexuality, and just so many layers going on here. And Cody Smith-McPhee in this movie is so much more intelligent than I realized until the credits started rolling and you realize what his endgame was and what the power of the dog actually meant, and you're just like, oh crap, wait a minute. It was one of those kinds of movies where it took until the movie to end for me to start piecing things together, being like,
Kaiser Soze!
Kaiser Soze! But
that was a weird reference, but yeah.
Yeah, but I get it. I got that reference. But this also, between Johnny Greenwood's score and the cinematography, this gave me tons of There Will Be Blood vibes. From, like, a visual standpoint. And, like, Johnny Greenwood just knows how to make atmospheric scores that'll just unnerve the crap out of you. And Kirsten Dunst gives such a tortured performance in this film. And how this film deals with abuse. Because, my God, Benedict Cumberbatch's character is so abusive in this. He literally drives this woman to become an alcoholic who almost dies because of alcoholism.
And that's not even his wife, by the
No,
way.
it's his sister-in-law. And it's just like, dude, back off.
Yeah.
And Jesse Plemons is all just like, I really want you to perform. And she's like, dude,
back off.
Back off. Can't you tell that your wife doesn't want to do this? And then that scene, though, where she just, like, backs away from doing the performance, and then Benedict Cumberbatch comes in and just straight up abuses her verbally in front of everybody. This is...
I play piano, and, like, that was, like, terrifying to me, because it's like if someone were to ask me to perform, I'd be like, it's a bitsy spider. Even though I know how to play, like, Elton John, like, that would put me in a bad place. I felt so bad for Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah, and this is, like, this is such a return to form for this director, because I love the piano, and I've seen some of her other work since then, and I wasn't as big on it. There's one with Harvey Keitel, another one with Harvey Keitel in it.
Was piano, okay.
He was in another one in, like, the late 90s, early 2000s. That one just didn't click all the way for me. But, like, this really... It's very rare do I have an experience where it takes me until the end of the movie to realize how much I love a movie. Because most movies, like, you can feel it as the movie's going on. This one was like, okay, I'm fine with this. I like Westerns and stuff like that. And just, like, something clicked. I'm just like, wait a minute. What did I just watch? And it'll be interesting watching it again a second time, realizing the big picture of what's really going on and seeing all this, like, the stuff going underneath during the whole entire film. But I think that's why this one, like, stuck out to me so much, is, like, I had such a visceral reaction to it by the end, where I'm just like, this hit me in a lot of different ways. But we're there, Matt. What's your number one?
All right. Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. Come on. This movie is my number one of the year. This movie is fantastic. I love what this movie has to say about being a human. I love what this movie has to say about being a human in modern society, like recent modern society. Like, I love what this movie has to say about being a parent, and then also it very much goes out of its way to depict, like, the opinions and the observations. Not even depict, because that sounds like it's, like, dramatized. I would say include, because there's kind of like a documentary aspect to this movie, or at least, like, that's in the narrative anyway. The observations of children and how they feel about the world around them and family dynamics and the future. This movie is both hauntingly sad because of the themes that it kind of covers, whether that be mental illness or grief or kind of just, like, I don't know, just like passion and, like, relationships kind of, like, dissolving and not doing well and all this other stuff. But then also it's really hopeful and triumphant, and this movie is beautiful. I think that the child actor like, is one hell of an actor, probably on the same level as, like, Anna Paquin in The Piano, who got, I think she was, like, the youngest. She
won Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah, one of the youngest people ever to get an Academy Award.
That character.
Yeah, I remember watching that movie, and it was like damn. But Also, why didn't she act in more stuff? And fact, but never mind. But
she was just in. She was in all the X-Men movies.
Well,
She was Rogue,
yeah.
and she was in True Blood.
I never saw True Blood.
I didn't either. But she was just an American Underdog, that new Kurt Warner movie. She played his wife.
I know she was in the Martin Scorsese movie.
It's a nice movie. She's barely in The Irishman.
Yeah.
Like, when they're like, Anna Paquin plays his daughter, it's just like, when?
Yeah.
This is 4 hours. How much time did they actually dedicate this? But, Joaquin Phoenix is one of the best actors out there. And Mike Mills is a director that I love. Beginners, and then one movie of the last decade that hit me in such a deep and meaningful way that I never expected was 20th Century Women. And I remember a line in that movie that hit me in such a true, genuine way, deep to my core as a human being, that I'm just like, I didn't think movies could do that. And Mike Mills knows how to hit a human chord in people. And, Come On, Come On is one of my 5-star films of the year. Because, I told Matt this, I watched 782 films released in 2021.
I saw 35.
So there's a lot of great films, and Come On, Come On and Mitchell vs. the Machines are high. They're in my top 30. And top 30 out of almost 800 movies is really impressive. It's just, we were talking about our top 10. And then we did 10 honorable mentions. So it's still right on the outside. But this was a great film, and it's a beautiful film. It's a very human film. And the humanity of it, I think, helps my number one be the number one that I had.
Gotcha. What's your number one? You need drum roll?
Go ahead. Kenneth Branagh's Belfast.
Boom. And
this does deal with Catholic, Protestant, basically wars in the streets and stuff like that. And it deals with unemployment and struggles and stuff like that. But this is genuinely hilarious movie. Everybody gets a chance to shine in this movie. This cast from top to bottom is so great. And it's funny. It's charming. It has an amazing dialogue. Has tons of great Van Morrison music. It's shot so beautifully in black and white, which is very interesting that both of our top movies are black and white. And this is the feel-good movie of the year for me. Two of the things that are some of the most cathartic experiences that I had, and this was actually one of the most, besides Spider-Man, the most packed theater that I've seen this whole entire year.
Belfast?
Yes. I have never seen this many middle-aged people in a movie theater in my life.
All the kids were out of Spider-Man.
Well, this was November? So this is before Spider-Man.
Oh,
now, this is a Sunday afternoon, and this theater was almost full.
Nice.
In AMC in Chamonix. And, it wasn't a small theater. And I'm it wasn't a huge one. It wasn't, one of the big ones that you show Spider-Man on. But, it was almost full. And it really helped the experience, too. I was very nervous, because, this is the most people I've been in a room with during all this pandemic. But, the scenes where they go to the movies, in particular, hit so... this gave me Hugo feelings. With the love of film portrayed so well in a movie. And, they go see Chitty Chitty Bang Bang in theaters. And it was so great because, when Chitty goes off the cliff for the first time and you think they're going to fall and the whole family's sitting back in the theater oh my god! And then it starts flying. And, they had that visceral reaction because this was in, the 60s. They didn't realize that you can make a car fly in a movie. And that was the movie magic. And you just see this young boy, Jude Hill, this actor, killing this performance. It's if you can't be good, be careful. And just that back and forth. And I used to hate Jamie Dornan because of 50 Shades of Grey. Another actor that could really act, Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar and Belfast showed that Jamie Dornan is a treasure. And Katrina Balfe, who plays the mother in this, 100% deserves every single Best Supporting Actress nomination that she should be getting. Because she is absolutely amazing. And if Kieran Hines... Because, like, Kieran Hines and Jamie Dornan are both getting Best Supporting Actor nominations around. And Kieran Hines has one of the best lines in any movie this year when, like... He's in the hospital. Like, he's an older man. He's the grandfather, and Judi Dench is the grandmother. And he's like, but if we go, like, you won't be there. It's like, and he's like, I'm not going anywhere where you won't find me. And I'm just like, tears. And one of my favorite trailers of the year was Belfast, because every time they start playing Jamie Dornan singing Everlasting Love, which I've listened to that song, the actual version, so many times this year on Spotify, gets me. And, like, him singing in the film, singing out to his wife, is one of my, like, most loved scenes in any movie this year. And this just hits so many different feelings, and it still has riots and shit. Like, and it gets heavy. You see cars exploding and all kinds of stuff like that. It has so much, and I absolutely love Belfast. You go, Kenneth Branagh. But that's our top 10.
Could we do something different this year? Is that okay?
Sure.
Can we speed run? How can we find all these movies? Like, I can go... at least the ones that we can try to.
Let's see. So, my top 10, Red Rocket's in theaters.
Okay.
West Side Story's in theaters. But I'm assuming West Side Story will wind up on Disney Plus at some point. The Green Knight is on VOD and also on physical media. It's been out that long. Quo Vadis 8 is on Hulu. The Father is also on VOD. I think 9 Days is on VOD. Tragedy of Macbeth is coming out on Apple TV Plus January 14th. So that'll be streaming. Spencer's on VOD. Power of the Dog's on Netflix. And I think Belfast is on VOD at this point as well.
Okay. All right. So, Jacob's Wife, I saw on YouTube.
It's... I know it's a Shudder original, so if you have access to Shudder or AMC Plus, it's on there.
Oh, so awesome. I just saw it on YouTube. Hardly Fall, Netflix Don't Look Up, Netflix The Card Counter, saw it on YouTube.
VOD, yep.
VOD.
Well, did you pay it on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, YouTube is an option for VOD, so...
Let me see, Mitchell's vs. Machines. Netflix. Dune, still in theaters?
I think it still is playing in theaters, but it is also on VOD and will be back on HBO Max at some point.
Got you. Tick Tick Boom.
Netflix.
Spencer.
Is on VOD right now.
Excellent. Antlers. I think the DVD's coming out, so I'm actually really excited about that.
Yeah, that comes out next. I think that comes out Tuesday. As we're recording this.
I'm literally gonna get that.
Yeah. Me too.
And then Come On
is
I feel like
just came out on VOD.
Oh, it did?
Yep. Excellent. It came out, I think, the week before Christmas. It came out on VOD, or the week after Christmas, so you can rent that at home too.
Excellent.
So there you go. You had a lot of Netflix ones. See, they had a lot of great films this year. Also, still a lot of trash. There's still Kissing Booth 3. And She's All That, He's All That, whatever the hell that is, that remake, yeah, trash. But, gold. Plenty of gold. You remember when they only had, like, Beast of No Nation was, like, their only great film on there? Look at them now.
Also, that's getting a Criterion.
Did get it. Yes, I will be getting that on Criterion. Beautiful. Because I have Marriage Story, I have Irishman, both on Criterion. I know, we don't feel the same way about that. Ethan will be joining me for my Irishman episode as I wrap up Scorsese in April. Because we're still going. But yeah, so check out these films. There's some great films to check out all across the movie universe. And Matt, thank you for coming on again. I always love doing this every year. And thank all of you out there for always tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.
Bye, guys.